Okay. So, when you're ready, your team name and your SDG.
So, hi, we are
H.
T, T, F.
Yay!
So we're doing the SDG number 4, which is related to education. So let me introduce ourselves. Like, he's Jin Suk, she's Bora, she's Sohee, she's Hayoung, and I'm Vinsik. So
We are going to announce about education inequality in Indonesia, which is related to goal 4 of SDGs. Education inequality is caused by polarization of private education expenses and income gap amongst children. The reason why we have to relieve the education inequality are, first of all, we cannot create educational justice without mitigating education inequality. Secondly, education is a major factor of social stratum, and education gap causes disparity of entrance rate and the percentage of school attendance rate. Therefore, they get a direct effect on income and quality of life. So, disparity between income can lead to gap between the rich and poor.
So now we are going to explain why we chose Indonesia. So Republic of Indonesia is a sovereign state located in Southeast Asia. So Indonesia has plenty of capital and labor power, with over 250 million people, making it the world's first most populous country after China, India, and United States of America. So therefore, Indonesia can develop much more than we think if they utilize human resources efficiently. So education is a significant factor for Indonesia to grow up. But sadly, the government is not doing its role responsibly, and the support for education is not satisfied.
Economic, it also has an adverse effect that has to be solved by the government. There are some accurate statistics that show the education problem in Indonesia. In 2003, a TIMSS, Transcend International Mathematics and Science Study, Indonesia was on 33rd place out of 45 countries. Also, Indonesia was on 5th place out of 57 countries in 2006 Program for International Students Assessment. While the primary completion rate of East Asia is on its rise, that of the Southeast Asian countries is decreasing. And moreover, only 11.5% of Indonesians go to college.
And what we thought as a solution of the problem is tutoring science and mathematics for them. The reason we chose these subjects is that these are the main two subjects helping students to improve their learning conditions. Because when students are good at science or math, they can easily get a scholarship from nation or school. So the first thing to consider is how to introduce this program to local students. The way to advertise is to inform the school to participate in this program. We'll start this at local level, and we are expecting to see this program to spread throughout the nation. We are planning to recruit some teachers from international students, and these students should be above the average grade. We'll adopt the teaching style from Korea because we thought this can raise the ability of students to a higher level in a short period of time than other methods. The target of this project will be junior high school, and we'll hold this program with 5 students per tutor to maximize the students' understanding. This will be a good opportunity to mitigate the inequality of education.
So because the tutors will be high school students, we are trying to use after-school time for our tutoring program. Therefore, it won't take much time from the high school volunteers, so they can have plenty of time for their own studying. The reason why we chose Korean education, as we stated before, is because it's effective for learning in a very short period of time. As you know, Korean students are one of the most motivated students in the world. And there are many private institutes that are trying to gather these students who have various unique ways of learning. Our project is going to combine the special method of teaching and send this curriculum to schools and the students at the local area so they can use it effectively to improve the local kids' education who are not getting enough opportunity just because their parents are not earning enough money. We are not getting students who go to school with fine circumstances, which will reduce the gap between the rich and the poor. Plus, we are providing additional courses for students who are not really experienced in studying. Thus, students who have never studied before can also join our program to enhance their competitiveness. Even if this program will start with few schools and volunteers, we expect it to become a huge social movement, not only for a small city, but also for the entire world. Wherever the uneducated kids are, we will send a specially designed program to achieve education equality for the world. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great job stating the SDGs and listing sources. I think that's a great method of having presentation. And one thing that I kind of have a question is that, you said you're needing high school students to teach. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
But what I understand from, like reading newspaper and everything, isn't like high school curriculum very, like tough and like up to pace? Like when would you find time to actually volunteer to go to Indonesia when you should be studying for like college entrance exam? And is there qualifications for high school students to teach?
So we are not asking Korean high school students to do this thing, but we are asking the international school students in Indonesia to help them. So it might be special extracurriculum for them. So,
So it's within
and we are using
Indonesia.
after school time.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
So it's kind of exchange program.
Yeah.
And also, I agree with her how to address your problem. You support some quantitative method with number, with status. That's very important because that makes sense and reliable. And if you put some source from where your data is coming from, that's gonna be much better.
I have a question. So, in your research, you have the statistic that 11.5% of high school students go on to college. Is that right?
Yeah.
In Indonesia. Okay. So, what are the other 88% of the students doing? What are they usually doing if they're not going to college?
They usually go to factory to earn money for their parents.
Okay. Excellent. And then I want to go back to what YG's question about the tutors. So you're using international students to visit, to go to other schools in Indonesia. So is there, teaching is a little, tutoring and teaching is tough. You just can't go into a place to and start doing it. Is there, have you thought of any sort of program to like, train tutors to go out and teach these students in the Indonesian schools?
So like in the international schools, they have this thing like service learning projects. So they have to do a service about 7 hours for a month. But these students, the general trend in Indonesia, the international students, they would usually teach students who are people who are uneducated and like children who are like abandoned by their parents. So I think you don't really have to focus on like their teaching skills because they already know how to approach it and like they already learn. They're learning students, so they understand better than I think they understand better than any of us.
Okay.
He's from Indonesia, that's why he knows a lot.
Okay. Any other questions?
I do actually have one question. Sorry, go ahead. All right. Well, I guess my concern is that, I mean, I think it's a great thing that you're focused on education. My concern is that the focus is going to be too much on maybe urban education or education in the urban areas. And as someone who's actually lived in Indonesia, so Indonesia it's a massive country, and it's, you know, I mean, there's a huge urban population, but there's also a larger population who lives in the rural areas. Have you thought about ways to reach out to those areas as well? I mean, there's got to be students or potential students or.
First, we're starting with a few schools, but we're expecting it to be actually a social movement. So we're gonna spread it out throughout the nation, school by school. We're not gonna like start up like the whole country because we can't do that. We're gonna go step by step. I think that's gonna be our approach to this.
And also, like, I think you were talking about recruiting a Korean curriculum system when you're doing the tutoring. But unfortunately, even though the Korean students are really good at science and math tests, but the Korean curriculum system, that's not, you know, considered as a really good, you know, curriculum. So, like, have you ever thought of, you know, recruiting different countries' curriculum systems when you're doing the tutoring?
We're actually thinking of kind of modifying the curriculum because Korean curriculum is actually like one way, but I think we stated it before, but we're having like 5 students per tutor, that kind of thing, so they can have like questionings and discussions, debate, whatsoever, that activities that they can learn from.
Okay. Let's round of applause.